Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to Video Game Show and Tell Live, the show where usually I go through stuff that I have, either collections or games, and I talk about them here with you guys live. So today is kind of special because we're bringing back VGST. It's something that we used to do before we started doing Saru Show. We did VGST Live, Video Game Show and Tell Live, and basically how VGST worked is I went through my collections and I talked about, you know, whatever games. The first, I think, 10 Saturday shows were all PC Engine related because PC Engine is the biggest collection that I have. So we did that in like 10 different parts. So we probably won't be doing that again, but we did continue off. This is episode number 61. The last time we did VGST was 2.5 years ago. So we're going to be doing that again. But this time we're going to do it like once a month. Because Saru Show is every other Saturday. We're still going to do Saru Show every other Saturday. So we're going to do Saru Show every other Saturday. And then once a month we'll do an episode of VGST Live, where we go through my collection. But welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being patient. We had some stuff that I had to set up first. And so here we are. I try to organize all of the Neo Geo CD games as close to their release date. They're all in NGH order, so like all of the NGH numbers, they should go from 1 to whatever. Obviously some NGH numbers are missing because only 97 Neo Geo CD games came out, so we're not going to have all of them. But anyhow, let's go ahead and start with this. So today, alright, let me grab the big boy. This thing is huge. Ginormous. I'm picking up the Neo Geo CD, and that guy is heavy. Heavy. Oh! Matthew, for the $60, he says, sweets, and I'm borderline. Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate that. I'm sure Borderline appreciates it too. Because he's still... You're the only one that's keeping him as the king of charms, Matthew. So hopefully he appreciates that. What character is that? Her name is Nakoruru from Samurai Showdown. She's the girl with the eagle. But I call this one Nyankoruru because I put cat ears on her and a tail. And cats go nyan in Japan. So that's why she's Nyankoruru. But it's basically Nakoruru from Samurai Showdown, the Samurai Showdown series. Alright, I'm gonna take a drink. We'll let some people hop in here. Let me take a look and see who is in here. Tsunami Sam, GT Beakermans, Paul, Famicom Collecting, and Mark Dow. But yeah, she's from Samurai Showdown. She's my favorite character from Samurai Showdown. Wow. Gizmo, what's up? Welcome.
What's up, Gizmo?
He's a say Saru and Jesse and everyone. How are you, Gizmo? Welcome in. Randrick is here. Welcome, Randrick. How are you? We're just getting started. I just talked about how we used to do VGST, and VGST is going to come back once a month so that we can talk about things like, obviously I'm not going to go through my whole PC Engine collection like I did the one time, but we'll go through a good number of like my PC Engine favorites when we do one. Maybe I'll do like my PC Engine gems or something like that for another episode. We will see. I'm going to do one for gaming books. Books and mooks. Jesus. Is that my phone? Calm it down, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. Voicemail. But yeah, we will be doing VGST again in a limited capacity because we do have a bi-weekly show. Two Saturdays of Saru Show, and then one Saturday will be Video Game Show and Tell Live. So for those of you who missed Video Game Show and Tell Live a few years ago, we're doing it back. Piloy, what's up? He says nice to see you. What's up, man? Welcome in. How you doing? How you doing? Sega CD collection will be very short, like 20 minutes for stream. It will, because we only have like, I don't know, 20 Sega CD, Mega CD things.
Sweet sugar.
Sweet like sugar. So far, it's just been Matthew pledged for a charm for himself, for you, and for I'm borderline. And the arcade king of charms, says Matthew. But yeah. All right. I think we can go ahead and get started. We've let a few people come in here. And we will talk about the Neo Geo CD. Only the best console in the world. Actually,
what's up, Reluctant Hero?
Give me 1 second. What the hell happened to the Neo Geo CD controller I had up here? Oh. Yeah, I need these guys. I need these guys. Ah, Mackenzie! He says, got distracted by Metal Slug Advance. So much fun. Welcome, Mackenzie.
Welcome, Mackenzie, for the member for 25 months.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Now, what I'll probably do with this video, too, since the live is going to be like 80 billion hours, is I'll probably cut it down. I'll probably cut it down and do a video of it for anyone who doesn't want to see all the fluff and talk in between. I'll do an edited video of it. I have meat in my teeth. Jesse had made beef fried rice. Where's my soda? Is that my soda?
Yeah, I don't want to put it next to those stuff. I'm waiting at the airport to go back home. Last meal in Japan, says for that sugar.
Oh. It looks like you had so much fun in Japan, though. It looks like you had a lot of fun. Let me see which side I have everything on. All right. We'll wait until this next track to start. TGS was hot and packed. Ooh, I bet. Alright, I'm gonna start. I have meat in my teeth too. Made homemade cheeseburgers with sweet potato fries. I have meat in my teeth, that's what she said. Alright. We're just gonna go ahead and get started here. Let me move this guy here. Alright, so welcome in everybody. Tonight we're gonna talk about my Neo Geo CD collection. The Neo Geo CD is a console that is very near and dear to my heart. I love it. I wanted it when it released back in the time, but I just couldn't afford to get it back in 1994 when it released. I eventually did get it winter of 1998 from a company called ncsx.com. I got this guy right here, the Neo Geo CD big boy, very, very heavy. It was this, the controller, and Samurai Spirits 2, which is an incredibly common game for the Neo Geo CD. And I loved it. I loved it, even though by then I had already gotten the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Saturn was like my best way to play Neo Geo at home at the time. The first time I played a Neo Geo game at home where I felt that it was close to the arcade experience was the PC Engine with the arcade card. Then the Sega Saturn came around, and that one was almost arcade perfect. And the Neo Geo CD, albeit slower, is a closer version of the games at home than the Sega Saturn, but the Sega Saturn definitely had some faster loading times thanks to the 4 megabyte RAM cartridge. But this here is the Neo Geo CD. It is a single load CD speed, or single 1x CD speed, and then they came out with this faster version of the Neo Geo CD. This is the Neo Geo CD-Z, which I, for the longest time, thought it was a 2x CD-ROM, but apparently it is still a 1x CD-ROM. The only difference is that its cache size is larger, so it's stored more in memory, and that's why stuff loaded quicker, because it had more memory to load from, as opposed to the Neo Geo CD that had less memory, and so everything was a lot slower for the Neo Geo CD-Z. But yeah, I love the Neo Geo CD, the CD-Z. I don't have the front loader. I used to have a front loader back in the day. It broke. I left it behind. I should have kept it. Eventually, I might get another front loader. I don't know. At this point, it seems kind of pointless to even bother if I have a CD-Z. But I love the CDZ. It's an awesome console. The Neo Geo CD in general, one of the things I really like about the Neo Geo CD is the fact that the music is arranged in, I think, like maybe 90% of the time, you'll get an arranged version of the soundtrack, which is completely different than the MVS and AES counterparts. Obviously, the best way to go would be AES, but I still have such a soft spot for the Neo Geo CD, and it is my favorite console. I do have a complete Japanese set of the Neo Geo CD library, and it's good stuff. I love it. It's a great console. All right, let's take a look at comments really quick. Let's see here. It was cool to see panels live. You guys are talking about Tokyo Game Show. Very awesome. And performances. Did you see the Falcom thing, Sweet Like Sugar? I got a Saturn shirt and a few other things. At Tokyo Game Show? That's awesome. I saw East. I wish they got a faster CD drive on the Neo Geo CD. Definitely a huge oversight from SNK, personally speaking. So, touching up on why the Neo Geo CD had a 1X drive at that time, it's because back then drives were very expensive. The hardware was extremely expensive. RAM was expensive, which is why there wasn't a lot of space to load into RAM. CD drives were incredibly expensive. This is during a time where there weren't any other speeds, and if there were, it would be hellaciously expensive for SNK to even try to produce at that time. Because if you look at the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, those are all single CD read speeds, but they just handled how they loaded everything differently. Which is why when you try to play like the Neo Geo CD games on the Polymega, they load instantly. One of the reasons is that the Polymega has infinite RAM for something like the Neo Geo CD, so it loads everything it needs in one shot and dumps everything it needs in one shot between rounds or between stages or what have you, making it really fast load times for the Neo Geo CD in comparison to the Sega Saturn or PlayStation 1 on that console. So that's the reason why 1X CD or 1X speeds were common back then. It's because that was all that there was. The Sega Saturn is my preferred way of most SNK fighters of that era. While they are not arcade perfect, it's really hard to notice unless you put them side by side, especially with the RAM cards. It is it's negligible between them. But also back then, when people were buying Neo Geo CDs, it wasn't common to get, like a lot of people were wanting to have like that Neo Geo experience at home, so that's why they would pick up the Neo Geo CD. But I believe that because, you know, the Saturn and PlayStation had ways to play SNK stuff, it was the choice for a lot of people, and that's probably why the Neo Geo CD's lifespan was so short. I believe it was from 1994 to 1999. I think the last officially released game was in 1999, being the King of Fighters 99. But yeah, even though I have an AES, consoleized MVS, and a Neo Geo CD top loader, I still want a CDZ, says Reluctant Hero. It's a cool console, and considerably smaller too, and lighter. Jesus Christ. The top loader, like, look at them, the size difference between the two. Look how much smaller the CDZ is compared to the top loader. And the top loader is so much heavier too. So much heavier than the CDZ. But no clicky with Saturn. That's right, you get no clicky. Also, the Saturn didn't have that many games. They basically released like the best of the best on the Saturn, right? So like you got the King of Fighters games from 99 to 97, I think, right? Was 97 the last one? So you got 95 to 97, 95, 96, 97. And then you got the first Metal Slug. Then you got other like oddball ports like Waku Waku 7. Waku Waku 7 on the Saturn is kind of ass. I really wish they had released that on the Neo Geo CD. I bet it would have been a much better experience. Or I wish they had utilized it better on the Saturn. I was so excited for Waku Waku 7 on the Saturn. Like, I made like my internet identity around that big fat thing, Marurun. That was my first email, actually, was marurun@hotmail.com. I made that on the Saturn. It was cool. It was cool. They are very big boys. The rest of the King of Fighters games after 97 came to PS1. Right, and they came to PS1 with a plethora of issues. Really slow load times. Some really bad sound compression. The Saturn also had bad sound compression when it came to the Neo Geo CD. You didn't get that like full stereo sound that you would with the any Neo Geo console. You know, like when both characters did like the same super, you would hear like right and left at the same time, and you'd hear that like that powerful like stereo sound at that time. You didn't get that with the Saturn. You especially didn't get that with the PlayStation. The PlayStation was even more condensed with its audio or compressed than the Sega Saturn was. It was super compressed. How dare you talk down on Saturn? That's my favorite system, that generation. I love the Saturn. It's just that every system has its weaknesses and has its pros and cons. Plus, we never really saw expensive consoles like the Neo Geo, PS4 Pro. What are we talking about here? Even though, okay. All right, let's go ahead and get into the games. So starting off with the first released Neo Geo game. The first released Neo Geo CD game was NAM 1975. NAM 1975 is a gallery run and gun, gallery shooter. That's what you call these, right? Gallery shooter games. A lot of fun. This one here is a total quarter muncher. I remember playing this in the laundromat in the arcade, and this thing being an incredible quarter muncher. Here's a scene straight out of Full Metal Jacket right there. There's a couple images from this that they took pretty much straight out of Full Metal Jacket. It's kind of funny. But yeah, NAM 1975. Good game. Good game. Very hard. But yeah, that was the first one released for the Neo Geo CD. Jamie C says, playing Twinkle Star Sprites while enjoying listening. Good show. Thank you, Jamie C, for tuning in. We will eventually get to Twinkle Star Sprites. That is one on the Neo Geo CD. That's one of my favorites. Johnny Graphics, what's up? He says, only the Saturn has Bug. Such a good game. Bug is the best. Saturn has Bug. PlayStation has Croc. Actually, Croc is pretty decent. I don't know. People talk shit about it, but it's not a bad game. It is pretty good. All right. Next one, we have Baseball Stars for the Neo Geo CD. This one, super comical looking baseball game. I will admit right now, I am horrible at almost all sports games. I am bad at them. I am glad I have them in the collection, but I am not good at these kind of games. I don't know why. There's every now and again I'll find like one or two that I'm decent at, but this is definitely not the exception. I'm horrible at this one. But this here is the second game released. I'm trying to get them as close as possible to release dates. Some of them have very fuzzy release dates on the internet, so we'll get as close as we can. Croc is legit. You're right. Yeah, it's pretty decent. And a complete C64 collection as well. Saru needs Amiga CD32 full set next. I wouldn't mind owning an Amiga CD32, but they're expensive. They want like $1,000 for these CD32 consoles, Mark. And trying to find the software is super expensive. I hope that it gets a Mr. Core and we can just play Amiga stuff on the Mr. Let's see. McKenny says, I'm terrible at baseball games as well. I get striked out and I'm like, did I win? Yeah, sometimes I don't know if I'm like soccer games too, I'll kick it into my own goals. I do all that. Johnny Graphics says, same. I've always ignored sports games except golf games. Oddly, I love those. I like some golf games. Some of them are fun. Some of them are I just don't understand. Like, I like the Mario golf games. Those are cool. I liked, what is it? Everyone's golf, everybody's golf. Super Swing Golf, is that what it's called in the early ones? All right, moving on to the next game. Speaking of golf, top players golf for the Neo Geo CD. This one is pretty straightforward and fairly easy to play. This one is alright. It's an alright game. You could always find this one on the cheap too for the Neo Geo CD. It's usually an affordable game to get, but it's golf. We're not going to talk much about it. Alright, next one that we're also not going to talk a whole lot about. This one is called Mahjong Retsuden, I think? I don't know. I can't read it. Mahjong something. Mahjong something den. Mahjong story. I thought it was... Is it Mahjong Kyoryu Retsuden? My kanji skills are terrible, but whatever. It's a golf game where you're this... I don't know what he is. He's like the Mahjong Yakuza boss or a pimp or something. She's like, oh, Mahjong. I'm not sure what's happening there. But yes, this is a Mahjong game for the Neo Geo CD. If you don't know how to play Mahjong, which most people don't, then it's not going to be interesting. Is that dude out of Yakuza, says Parntel? Yes, focus camera. There you go. No. Alright, whatever. Alright, next one. In the early Neo Geo CD games, this one is one that is a favorite amongst many, but also one that is very hard. That is Magician Lord, 80K's Magician Lord. Magician Lord for the Neo Geo CD is interesting. It does have some differences. A lot of these early games didn't really get like full arranged soundtracks. They basically got cleaner versions of the already existing chiptunes. This is one such case. With all of the games that we've showed so far, that is the case. They didn't have like full arranged soundtracks until a little bit later. This is one of them. The music sounds almost exactly the same as Magician Lord on the MVS or AES, except that it has a starting point and an ending point. Another difference is also this one is probably the easiest version of Magician Lord that you can play because of the fact that it creates checkpoints for you, and the other ones don't. In the other games, when you die, you go directly to the beginning of the stage. This one lets you continue off at certain points when you continue. So this one is definitely the more accessible version of Magician Lord if you're going to get into this game. This is probably the easiest version you're going to play compared to the MVS and the AES versions of Magician Lord. There was also, interestingly enough, going to be a Magician Lord sequel for the Neo Geo Pocket, and that never happened because at the time, Aruze bought out SNK, they liquidated 80K, there was all this shit, and so it never got released for the Neo Geo Pocket, unfortunately. Alright, let me look at the comments. I play real Mahjong games on my Saturn from time to time. It's because of the gameplay, not the uncensored anime girls, says Mackenzie. Sure, buddy. Which one's your favorite Mahjong game? If you want the most uncensored Mahjong game experience, that would be Suchi Pai 2, I think, on the Saturn has an 18 red label on it. Not yellow label like the other games. Let's see. Neo Geo CD Magician Lord is the easiest of all three versions. Indeed. Brian says, I never owned a Neo Geo CD. I played some games from the Neo Geo on my PSP years ago, but not the original versions. I enjoyed Magician Lord, even though I never could beat it. Yeah, it's hard. I think Magician Lord on the SNK Neo Geo Collection Volume 1, which there was only one volume. I don't know. I guess maybe SNK thought they were going to make more volumes of that for the PSP, and then it never happened. But that one, I believe, is like the AES version, right? Of Magician Lord. Jamie C says, Top Players Golf was one you would see on the UK MVS cab at my local bowling place, along with Magician Lord, Baseball 2022... or 2012, and something else I can't remember, says Jamie C. That's interesting. Well, hopefully this, when we go through these games, it'll jog your memory, and you'll be like, that's the game. That's the game. AES is the most difficult for Magician Lord, says Relenting Hero. I believe that's what's on the collection, right? Is the AES version of that on that PSP collection? Maybe. Probably Mahjong P5. Oh yeah, P5 has like full-on animated items. Animated items. Yeah, go to the next track. Next track. I actually bought Magician Lord from the PlayStation Store on the PSP. Oh. Then that one gives you, I think, the MVS option as well, right? I think. I don't know. I don't know. I know Arcade Archives does. They give you like an arcade mode and a home mode. It's cool. Alright, moving on. Oh, sorry, I'm like hyperventilating. AS version spawns you back at checkpoints. Oh, does it? Ah, I thought it spawned you back at the beginning. I did not know that. I thought that was a Neo Geo CD version thing. PSN Store is great way to discover great SNK games. And pretty cheap too. You can get them usually for like $5 or whatever. $5, $6, $7 depending on the game. MVS version spawns you where you die. Ah, I thought the... Then I wonder what makes the Neo Geo CD version easier than the other two versions. Let's see here. MVS version spawns you where you die. Hige-san! Welcome, Hige! He says, Neo Geo. How are you, Hige? Welcome. Welcome. MVS gives more health. Says Reluctant Hero. Ah. Interesting. I did not know that. This is the only version of the game I own. I have very few MVS games. Wait, do I own Magician Lord? I don't think I do. I have 12, 13, 14. I have about 20 MVS games. You can get Magician Lord in PKGJ. I don't know. I typically just start the game and never mess with the settings, says Brian. Mackenzie says, SNK more accessibility does not compute. SNK is only for hardcore. Accessibility is not in their blood. Always love seeing your game room. Ah, that reminds me, Screw the Net. We're gonna do a game room tour. I'm missing a lamp in the corner. Because I had one that I put in my bedroom. It's kind of gross, so I'm gonna buy a new one on Amazon. I found a cheap lamp that I want to put in the corner, and we should buy that. Yeah, we should buy that lamp so that we can put it there and then do our room tour video. But yeah, we're gonna do a room tour. We just gotta. There's a few more things I want to clean up because there's kind of like just shit and stuff where I don't know where to put stuff. But yeah, we're gonna clean it up a bit. All right, moving on. All right, let me read these comments before we move to the next one. In the past, the loading time of Neo Geo CD was the time to read manga. Yep. Read manga, make yourself a coffee, go to the bathroom. It's one of the few games that are legit different AES versus MVS, even with Unibios, says Jamie C on Magician Lord. Hey, take your time. That way, it will be a tour de force, says Screw the Net. All right, moving on to the next one in release order is Riding Hero. Riding Hero for the Neo Geo CD. This is a motorcycle racing game. It has very, very much Hang-On vibes. If you enjoyed Hang-On, this is like Hang-On plus the ability to upgrade your motorcycle. Excuse me. With the ability to upgrade your motorcycle with money, parts, etc., etc. Riding Hero for the Neo Geo CD. I don't know what else to say. There's like a it's kind of like an adventure mode a little bit, right? There's like you interact with characters and like shop owners and stuff. Interesting game. All right. I forgot what ASO stood for. But next one in the Neo Geo CD library is ASO 2. The first ASO game was not a Neo Geo game. It was an SNK arcade game, like one of the earlier arcade games around the time of Prisoners of War and those other games. This is an interesting shmup. It's fun. It's very classic style shmup. Shoot 'em up, shooter. Sorry, I don't know why I said shmup. I feel like a total dork now. Shoot 'em up, shooter. We're just gonna go with shooter. But yes, ASO 2 is a pretty interesting shooter. It's not super long and it's not super... It is kind of hard, but I feel like most of these games are hard because they were made for the arcade, right? But it's a cool game. I never played the first ASO. Never played the first one. I don't know what to compare it to. All I know is that it was an old arcade game, but I never played it, so I can't speak much of the first one compared to the second one, but it's alright. It's an okay game. It's an alright game. Let's see here. Ooh, no, it's no hang on. Yeah, well, I mean, gameplay-wise, probably not, right? Probably could tour Japan and come back 1 week later, and the Neo Geo CD is still loading for a cutscene. It will be if you're playing Last Blade or Last Blade 2. If you leave it alone and try to come back, it'll still be loading for sure. You can probably go to, you know, the market and come back, and it's still loading Last Blade 2. It's possible. Let's see here. Decent shooter for sure. Yeah, it's not bad. It's a fun little shooty. Shooty. I enjoy it. It's not bad. I should play it more often, and maybe I'll get better at it. Alright. Next, in the releases of the Neo Geo CD library comes Ninja Commando by ADK. ADK loves their ninja games. Oh, actually, these might not be in order. Oh, well, whatever. Whatever, who cares? ADK does love their ninja games. This one is a fun run and gun. I love playing this one. This one is a lot of fun. Also, not super long. You can beat it fairly quickly, within 45 minutes to an hour, probably. Super fun run and gun game. You have, like, these ninjas. They run left to right. They each have, like, their own special moves. You power up. It's a very satisfying run and gun game, and I love it. I love Ninja Commando. Super fun. ADK and their ninjas. ADK loved all their ninja shit, and this is no exception. No exception. All right, next up. This one is one that I felt could have been so much better in so many ways with just a few simple little tweaks, and that is Cyberlip. Cyberlip for the Neo Geo CD. This is pretty much the same across all versions, I think. I don't know. Maybe someone will correct me. I've only ever really played the arcade version a lot growing up as a kid. But Cyberlip for the Neo Geo is a game that I feel could have been so much better. This artwork is badass, though. Look at this cover. This, like, hand-drawn art is dope. I love it. But this game, all this game could have used is some diagonal shooting. If the game had diagonal shooting, I think it would have been so much better. Sometimes when you, or actually all the time, when you try to go down between platforms, it's almost pointless to do so. You're better off just jumping, because when you try to, like, jump down from a platform, he does the characters do like an animation, and then they jump down. You're dead. You're dead while your character is doing this animation to move down. Are his lips cybernetic? Actually, yes. It's called Cyberlip because at the very end you fight a boss that's literally like a robot mouth. I thought it was going to be something cooler, right? Like it was going to be, you know, I don't know, code for something. It was going to be some like crazy like cyberpunk, you know, lingo of some sort. But no, it ended up being a big old cybernetic mouth that you fought. What that robot mouth do though? Says Martin. Oh, it's funny. But yeah, I feel like Cyberlip could have been a much better game if it just had a few little tweaks. I still like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy Cyberlip a lot. I just feel that it could have used some things like diagonal shooting. They should have made like the jumping between platforms, you know, instant like jumping. Also, this stage, I don't know, everything about this stage is penises. If you played this game, it's a very H.R. Giger-esque stage. Like, the aliens have dongs, the backgrounds are dongs, everything is dong-shaped. For some reason or another. They are on planet Double Dong. Oh no, no diagonal shooting is a big no for me. Yeah, Cyber Phallus wasn't as catchy. But yeah, I feel like there we go. I feel like it missed the mark by not having diagonals. Kind of sucks. Here let's go to another year. Yep. Sweet. You had me at dogs. Man, there are still so many games. And we've already been at this almost an hour. I don't know how we're going to finish all of these tonight. It's going to be a long time. All right, next up is the Super Spy for the Neo Geo CD. Super cool game. If you like those, like, this is like early, like, first person, kind of like Punch Out kind of view. The game does get repetitive, but for the time that it released, it was kind of cool, I think. I'm sure there were much better games at the time, but it's not a bad game. But it does get really repetitive, unfortunately. But it's interesting. It's still an interesting game, nonetheless. That is the Super Spy for the Neo Geo CD. Focus. Not a bad game. Not a good game, but not a bad one. Alright, next up. I had to look it up if the Neo Geo CD one shmup I wish I could have is Polestar, but unfortunately those load times in that game is crazy. At least you get Juggling Monkey. Dude, Polestar is great. Polestar is hard, though. They, when they made the sequel, Blazing Star, which I wish I owned. Blazing Star, when they made Blazing Star, they made it easier. It wasn't as hard as Polestar was. Saru needs to get back to playing Neo Geo Twitch streams. I could do that maybe next Tuesday. We used to do Neo Geo CD Tuesday. We'll do that Tuesday. What's today, Saturday? This Tuesday we'll do a Neo Geo CD stream. So if you guys are following me on Twitch, we'll play some Neo Geo CD games on Twitch this Tuesday. Remember, says the 8-bit Dome Neo Geo controller is so cool. It's pretty good. I like it. I wish it was like a little more clicky, but it's not bad. I did try to play it with some action games though, and it's like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to play. It's great for fighting games, but it's kind of a mixed bag with action games. Depending on what action games you're playing, it's kind of a mixed bag. Double Dong shooter games. This is Famicom collecting. Where are the dog games at? Where are them dogs? What dog games? Like Nintendogs. Neo Geo dogs. Alright, next one is a beat 'em up that, although I feel like it's cheap as hell, like the boss fights are so cheap and just meant to suck the quarters out of you, I still enjoy it. It is Mutation Nation for the Neo Geo CD. Mutation Nation for the Neo Geo CD. Check out this Shinkido artwork on the cover. Homeboy looking like Kyo Kusanagi from the King of Fighters. This was pre-King of Fighters probably, yeah. But he looks like Kyo, right? But yeah, this is artwork by Shinkido. Shinkido now does a lot of artwork for Capcom, but he used to do a vast majority of the Neo Geo artwork. In the early days, he did a lot of the, Mutation Nation, Sengoku, all the King of Fighters games. He did a lot of art for the Neo Geo back in the day. Mutation Nation is a cool beat 'em up. It's hard. It's definitely hard, but it's fun. It's fun. You have characters that have like special attacks. Depending on which power-up you pick up, your special attack changes. You have two characters that are basically the same. They're just palette swaps of each other. But they're basically the same in functionality. The only differences between the two, I think, is one has like a kick attack when you don't have any power-ups, and one has like some sort of punching attack when you don't have any power-ups. But other than that, the characters are pretty much the same. And it's a lot of fun. It's a good game. The boss fights are super cheap in this one, especially the closer you get to the end. You're dying a whole lot. But overall, the game is decent. I do enjoy it. Some really cool early Shinkido cover art for this game. Mutation Nation for the Neo Geo CD. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for beat 'em ups on the Neo Geo CD. It's one to pick up. And these next ones are all beat 'em ups here, you guys. Next we have Sengoku Densho. Sengoku Densho, or simply known as just Sengoku here in the States, is a beat 'em up that has like different power-ups. It's kind of cool the way they did it here with the power-up system. You get to like take on the spirits of different things, like different warriors. You have like a samurai warrior, different kinds of swordsmen. You get like this like war dog kind of thing. It's like a dog wearing armor. Really cool game. They made how many games did they make? I think they made 3 games, but the third one really doesn't feel like a Sengoku game to me. They could have just named that anything else. I think it came out of Sengoku 3 in the States and Sengoku 2001 in Japan. It was made by Noise Factory. The game is beautiful. The pixels are done in that Noise Factory style, but it just doesn't feel like Sengoku to me. This one is a lot of fun. I enjoy Sengoku a lot for the Neo Geo CD. I also have the Mega CD version, which I also enjoy in a much different way. But this is a fun game. Fun game to play. It had a sequel. We'll get to that one eventually. Really cool beat 'em up. A lot of ambient, very Japanese vibes with this. The music. Cool game. Cool game. Now, here is a beat 'em up that I feel was trying to be so much like Final Fight, and it missed the mark on so many ways. However, I still really like it. I still really like this game. That is Burning Fight on the Neo Geo CD. Burning Fight is a I think this is more Shinkido art, maybe. I'm not sure. It looks kind of like his art, right? But anyhow, Burning Fight is a beat 'em up, very, very basic, bare bones. You have 3 different characters to choose from. You have a guy who's like a Japanese guy who's basically like a guy ripoff. You have your Cody-like character. You have a big guy that's your like Hager-like character. Like, they really were trying to ride the coattails of Final Fight with this one, and I think it kind of didn't work out that way. However, I love this game because, one, it takes place in Osaka. If you look at the background, there's the Guriko Running Man. And it's just funny because a lot of the places are very reminiscent of what they're based off of, right? So like you have like your Dotonbori stage. There's a stage that's based on Dotonbori. Then you get on the train, right? And the train's going to a place called Umida, which is supposed to be Umeda. And it's just cool that it takes place in Osaka. Like back here you have a Tsutenkaku Tower right there. That's Osaka's tower. And it was always like, you know, Osaka is always seen as like a gritty place, you know, because like Yakuza have a lot of their like headquarters there. They own like pachinko parlors all over Osaka, and so a lot of stuff always revolved in Osaka, you know, like the new Yakuza games, a lot of them revolve around fictitious places that are based on Osaka, like Sotenbori is supposed to be Dotonbori and stuff like that. A lot of games they base it on Osaka, and I love that because Osaka is my favorite place in Japan. I absolutely love Osaka. If you've seen any of my YouTube videos going to Japan, we've gone to Osaka like 3 or 4 times. Unfortunately, like I said, this game, other than if you like this kind of game, you know, if you're into beat 'em ups, even if they're basic, you might enjoy it. If you're looking for some sort of depth, you're not going to enjoy it. If you're mostly a casual gamer, you'll probably enjoy it. I love it for many different reasons. But it's definitely no Final Fight. For sure, it's no Final Fight. Definitely no Streets of Rage 2. Streets of Rage 2 is probably above, you know, Final Fight. All right. We're almost done with this first stack. We have like 6 stacks that we're going to show today. All right, next one is League Bowling for the Neo Geo CD. League Bowling is a really cool cartoony like bowling game. I love this one. This is one that I used to play, ironically, in the bowling alley. I used to play this in a bowling alley in Little Tokyo. There was a bowling place on the second floor in Yaohan Plaza. They had League Bowling when I first played this game. And I love the character, was so animated. And it's fun. It's a fun game. Fun bowling game. Really love this cover. The artwork, the in-game artwork is sweet. It's a cool game overall. A lot of fun. Definitely recommend League Bowling if you're looking for a good bowling game to play, because I believe it's the only bowling game. So if you want any sort of bowling game on the Neo Geo CD, grab League Bowling. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it. All right, here. Final Fight becomes Final Dong. Is that the place from Yakuza? Yes, Mark Dell, it is. It's in Yakuza they call it Sotenbori. Burning Dong is the game I want to play the most so far. Well, you know how you get to play Burning Dong. Let's see here. Resident Evil Dong, Castlevania X. You guys are crazy. Isn't this a sports game? It is, but I like, I don't know. When I say sports games, I mean like soccer games or baseball games. Things that are trying to simulate like actual sports games. With bowling games, it's kind of different. With bowling, it's just kind of like aim the target and shoot, right? And then there's others too. We'll get to some other examples of sports games that I do enjoy. Mostly fantasy sports games or games that are very loosely based on like whatever actual sport. Let's see here. Bowling Alley arcade game at Bowling Alley. Trying to wrap my mind around that. Yakuza Boss. Hige is the Yakuza Boss. His channel name is Yakuza Gamer. Hige channel. Yakuza Boss Gamer. The Don Cthulhu. Is Windjammers a sports game? See, that's what I was going to get to, is Windjammers. I love Windjammers, even though, I mean, Windjammers is more like Pong, though. You know what I mean? Think of Windjammers as Battle Pong. That, for me, Windjammers is more like versus Pong. I prefer sports games that throw realism and simulation out the window. Yeah, I think so, too. I still have meat in my mouth. Sorry. Like NBA Jam. NBA Jam is cool. I can get down in NBA Jam. It's fun. Or like the Kunio-kun sports games. Those are fun too. Like the Kunio Soccer and all those. Those are fun too. Alright. Next one in the Neo Geo CD library. This one is a shooter. This one here is Ghost Pilots. Ghost Pilots on the Neo Geo CD is one that I really wanted to like, but I just don't. I don't enjoy this game. And I think part of the reason I don't like this game is your airplane sprite is so large, and I feel like you are just a sponge for bullets in this one. I feel like it's just too easy to die in this game. I just feel like it's just it's not fun. It's not fun when you're constantly dying. Maybe I'm just terrible at it, and that could just be that I am absolutely awful at this game. The bombs are cool. They're nice and big and satisfying and explodey. But I feel like your plane sprite is too large. One thing that I do enjoy about Ghost Pilots is that you get alternating paths in this game, which is kind of cool. You can there are places where you can take left or right at a fork. And it's pretty cool. It's a cool concept. I think the game itself, though, kind of... It just isn't the best. But what a cool logo. I love the logo of this game. It's a rad logo. A lot of Neo Geo games had some really cool logos. And this is one of them. So cool. So cool. Alright. Next one is a game that I never play. I've played once or twice and I just don't care. It is Joy Joy Kid. This was the Neo Geo CD, or the Neo Geo's version of Tetris. If you needed a Tetris clone, this is what you got. Excuse me. This is the game that you got if you needed a Tetris clone. You got Joy Joy Kid. You went to the store and you're like, Mom, can we have Tetris? And your mom's like, but we have Tetris at home. And it's Joy Kid. It's interesting. It's actually different. It does have more to do than any Tetris game. You have like here there's like these like little like jumpy bonus stage thingies. So it is kind of cool. I'm just not a fan of Tetris type games or games that try to be too much like Tetris. I prefer more like match 3 puzzles, things that use like other kinds of gimmicks. But straight out Tetris clones, they're kind of boring. They kind of bore me. But yeah, that is Joy Kid. Next up on the Neo Geo CD game releases, we have Raggy, which looks like Ragai, but in Japanese it says Raggy. I don't know what a Raggy is, but you are this guy, and in the US this is called Blue's Journey, which makes more sense because I think that's the name of the guy, right? Blue? Yeah. The hero's name is Blue. So in the US they called it Blue's Journey. I don't know what Raggy is. Maybe the world they live in is called that. Not sure, but this is a fun little game. It's an enjoyable game. If you're into like those like, you know, very it feels like very Wonder Boy, Marvel Land kind of thing. If you enjoy those kinds of games, you'll enjoy Raggy. Fun game. Fun game, very cute, super colorful. I enjoy this one overall. Enjoyable game. Enjoyable platformer, lots of fun, very colorful. Very 16-bit feeling. Alright, Sticks is here, what's up? He says, I beat Blue's Journey, silly ending. Love Ragu. This is Jesse. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Tsunami Sam. Oh, Mark Dell. Ruh-roh. Of course, the Neo Geo needed a Tetris clone. Were Neo Geo CD games expensive? No, they weren't. Neo Geo CD games were the affordable way to get Neo Geo games back in the day. So, you know, games would come out and they'd be like 5,900 yen or whatever. They were the much more affordable way to play Neo Geo back in the time, and that was really the whole reason of the Neo Geo CD, was to give people a more affordable alternative to the Neo Geo AES, which was considerably more expensive at 200 plus a cart, right? And later on it got even way more expensive. The hero's name is Blue, but he wears red. Makes sense. Was he wearing red? Yes. That's hilarious. The in-game sprite, he's blue in the in-game sprite though. So I guess the person drawing the cover art didn't get the memo or something. I don't know. Yeah, but the cover he's wearing, he's totally red. But in the game, he's blue. So that's hilarious. Now they're expensive on eBay, thanks to a certain monkey and panda streamer. Oops. All right, let's see. What do we got next? Ooh, next here. Next up in the Neo Geo CD library, we got Last Resort. A shooter, one of the earlier shooters on the Neo Geo. And this one is a cool one as well. I love the graphical style, which they then used. So much of the graphical style in this is in King of Fighters 94. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Things like explosions, like the fire sprites in here are in King of Fighters when Kyo does like a super move and he does like the fire. Those are in here. The font is taken straight out of this game. So much of it was taken out of Last Resort and put into King of Fighters 94. But Last Resort is a cool game. It is hard. It's very much like an R-type kind of game. You have like your option pod that you can put in front of you. You have different power-ups, you know, like lasers and yada yada. You have a charge shot, very reminiscent of whatchamacallit, R-type. It is a fun game. It's a fun game, but it is very hard. Graphically, it's very nice. I love the whole Orange City. In the beginning, it's very sci-fi feeling, you know, very Very Blade Runner vibes. I like it. It's cool. And this cover is very cool. Granted, the ship is super phallic, but I love the artwork. The artwork is so good. It's good. But yes, good game. Good game. Kind of hard, but it's good. Good game. Let's see here. Last dong. What are you guys talking about? I wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Says Mark Dell. So fine. Last Resort has one big dong on the cover. I love it. Ship deck. Says Tsunami Sam. Look at that ship deck. Alright, here's another one that I saw a lot in the arcades, in MVS cabinets, and that is Super Baseball 2020. This is what baseball was supposed to look like already by now, you guys. We were lied to. We were supposed to have this kind of baseball now. This game is cool. I suck at it because I suck at almost all sports games, but I really love the visual style of this game, the sprites, the sounds. It's a visual treat with some really punchy sound bites in this one. Really cool game. Love this cover too. This cover is cool. This guy's like, oh, but yeah, cool game. Cool game. Classic game. I used to have like 3 copies of this. I remember I gave one brand new copy to Gabriel, which he immediately went to stick in his back pockets. And I sold one, I think, on eBay, and then this one was my 3rd one. That's why mine is like it's in pristine quality. Where the fuck is my Obi for this though? Oh yeah, I have a bag of Obis behind me. I took all the Obis out of most of these. A couple of these I didn't take out of their Obis before talking about them. Alright, next one here. Another futuristic sports game for the Neo Geo CD. This one is Soccer Brawl. I mean, it's alright. I don't know what I could say about it. There are better soccer games on the Neo Geo CD. But it's alright. It's cool. This one, I feel, is more on the fantasy side than on the realistic side of things. You have things like you have power-ups that you can use. You have like super kicks and all kinds of other stuff. Graphically, it's all right. This cover is cool though. Super cool cover art. Love this cover art. It's rad. It's rad. More awesome logos because SNK game logos were the shit. I don't know why they were over. I feel like they knocked it out of the park with logos most of the time. Almost always they'd knock it out of the park with the logo work. Loved it. But that is Soccer Brawl on the Neo Geo CD. Bag of dongs. Double Obi. A bag of Obies? That sounds like a drug slang. I'm often told to eat those. Eat a bag of dongs. Alright, next one is another beat 'em up on the Neo Geo CD. This one is another one I enjoy quite a bit. And that is Robo Army. Robo Army on the Neo Geo CD. Super fun. You are these two like cybernetic guys. Like one guy is like part robot, part human. The other guy looks almost all robot. And I believe his name is Maxima. And I think Maxima from the King of Fighters was based on, I think, this guy. Not the more robot looking guy. I think Maxima was based on. But this is also Shinkido art. You always know it's Shinkido because all the guys have like eyeliner and they have like these like, they all look like George Clooney. Everyone has George Clooney face. It is very known that Shinkido likes to draw everyone with these George Clooney faces. But this game is fun. This game has power-ups depending on how much life you have left. Or not how much life. You have different levels of power-ups is what I meant. From like your strongest power up to like your weakest power up. It's a fun game. Some of the bosses can be cheap, of course. This was an arcade game. You have like a boss rush towards the end and all that other stuff. But the game is a lot of fun. I really like it. I like Robo Army quite a bit. If you can find it at a decent price, I would pick it up. Or if you have the money to get it, I would definitely pick it up. I absolutely love this game. Love it. All right. Robot Dong Army. Robot Army. Sex Robot. What would be the better game? Robo Dong or Dong Army? I guess it depends on if you want quantity. Double Dragon Desunu. Robot Dong Army. Double Dong Army. Alright. You guys are so silly. Next one. Next one up on the Neo Geo list here is the Battle of Destiny Garo Densetsu. This is the first Fatal Fury game. We got some crazy Shinkiro eyes here, for sure. Fatal Fury, when I first saw this game in the arcade, this was around the time Street Fighter 2 was a thing, the first Street Fighter 2. I was like, man, this game looks so badass. And like, I remember the music, the sound, everything was so much more impressive than Street Fighter. Except for one thing. The gameplay. Unfortunately, the gameplay in this was almost unplayable. It was damn near impossible to get super moves out in this game. It was so hard to perform. Like, your special moves were difficult to perform. But it looked so good and sounded so good. The music was so good. Love the music in this game. The sounds, the big detailed sprites, because the sprites were like next level detail, right? Like, they just looked so good. Backgrounds looked good. It had like a cohesive story, you know, which Capcom always struggled with. I don't know why Capcom always struggled with like cohesive storylines, but SNK always put out these like very understandable storylines that made sense, and Capcom just couldn't do that for whatever reason. The only bad thing about the first Fatal Fury game is the gameplay. The gameplay, unfortunately, falls really, really short compared to Street Fighter 2 at the time. Street Fighter 2 played incredibly well, and then you try to play this game, and this game played like ass, unfortunately. I still enjoyed it. It was still a fun game, but it really wasn't until Fatal Fury 2 where this game would really pick up momentum and be taken as a serious fighting game. Interesting thing about Fatal Fury, though, is that the person who produced the first Street Fighter game, which was, in all intents and purposes, a commercial failure compared to Street Fighter 2, left at Capcom to go work on this game. So, essentially, Fatal Fury and Street Fighter were the brainchild of the same person. But it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, this is a Street Fighter 2 copy. They copied Street Fighter 2. Well, yes and no. Yes in the fact that it's a fighting game. No in the fact that it's the same person behind Street Fighter 2 is the same person behind the first Fatal Fury game. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting little tidbit. Fatal Fury for the Neo Geo CD. Decent game. It's gone up in price. I can't recommend picking it up if you don't have it and you don't necessarily just want to collect all the Fatal Fury games. You could pass it up for sure, because it's like $100 for a game that's super mediocre at best. So easily pass that one up unless you're trying to collect it or you're a huge Fatal Fury fan. You can easily pass it up. Terry Bogard es malote. Aquí tiene cara del diablo. Satanás. I don't know why he looks so scary. Se ve. Me da terror. Los ojos. Gotta love the rivalry between SNK and Capcom at this time. Both had their strengths and weaknesses, but both made awesome stuff. Capcom versus SNK is like the stuff of dreams. Yes, and I believe that competition innovates, brings on innovation, right? Because if Capcom, was the only one making, fighting games that were any good, they wouldn't have a need to innovate. They wouldn't have the need to be like, all right, we need to come out with some cool shit. And we probably would have never gotten Street Fighter Alpha, which is I absolutely love the Street Fighter Alpha series. It's so good. We got Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3 was amazing. We got Darkstalkers. We got all these like really awesome 2D Capcom fighting games. And I really think that that has a lot to do with, one, the success of Street Fighter 2, but also the fact that there were so many games trying to ride on the coattails of Street Fighter 2. So I think that if it wasn't for a lot of these companies trying to make the next Street Fighter 2, Capcom wouldn't have tried to innovate so hard, right? And make games that were better each time. And then we got the versus fighting games, which were freaking awesome. Like X-Men versus Street Fighter and yada yada. SNK did the King of Fighters, which was just an absolute dream at that time. Amazing stuff. Art of Fighting era increíble en los arcades con esos zoom y sonido de SNK. Sí, era una maravilla y el primer juego de hacer una cosa así con los videojuegos de pelea. Igual con la habilidad de hacer los movimientos de super y eso, los especiales de cada personaje. Eso es algo que creo que comenzó con Art of Fighting 3, ¿no? Yo creo que sí. Eso que tienen la barra de energía dedicada a los movimientos especiales. Para los super moves. Alright. Moving on. Next one is a game that I can't even tell you if I've played more than 3 times. And that's Football Frenzy on the Neo Geo CD. I think we played this on the Polymega a couple of times. But definitely a game that I just don't care about. Cool cover art though. The cover is cool. I really like the artwork. America. But I can't tell you much about this game. I'm not a big fan of this kind of sports game. So yeah, Football Frenzy. Football Frenzy. Alright, next one. For the Neo Geo CD, we got Cross Swords. Cross Swords from ADK on the Neo Geo CD. This game is freaking rad. You have like these outline, punch out kind of outline characters. You're running around very much like the Super Spy, but think of like the Super Spy if it were medieval. 2 players simultaneous. There was also a part 2 that was a Neo Geo CD exclusive. We will talk about that one soon, but this one was still very cool. Very cool game. Sorry, I'm reading chat and laughing. Very cool game. Really enjoy this one. Definitely gotta check it out. If you have a Neo Geo CD, you can pick this up. Great game, music, graphics, everything just fits. I really like this game. ADK made it. Of course, ADK made it, so you do have ninjas in here. You have like medieval ninjas, and sometimes there is food that you can pick up that's like sushi and stuff, which I don't know how it would have gotten to like medieval times, but there's sushi in here. But it's a cool game. Definitely check it out if you have the money to spare to get this one. Definitely pick it up. I'm not sure if I think this one is more affordable than the second one, but I don't know. I've had this game forever, so I have no idea. No idea. All right. Anyway, Crosswords 2, very cool. This next one, here's one that I don't remember playing on MVS or AES. I don't know what it's called on those. I've never played it until the Neo Geo CD, and that is Rally Chase. Is this an exclusive? I want to say no, but I've never played it beforehand, so maybe it's not. Interesting game. It's one of those racing games, you know, top down. You're running around a course. Basically, the idea of this game is don't touch anything. Don't touch the walls. Don't touch other cars, and you'll win. These games are always very hard for me because you don't have a lot of foresight. You have like an arrow that tells you that a turn is coming, but it's like instant, and next thing you know, your car is in the wall for me. So it's hard. It's kind of hard game to play, but enjoyable if you like these kinds of games. Rally Chase for the Neo Geo CD. Decent graphics as well. Nothing to write home about, but it's got some 16-bit flair there. Looks kind of early, right? Kind of early Neo Geo style, but it's alright. There are better games than this to get, though, so if you're looking to get a racing game, there are better ones. We'll get to those. at some point. But there are better choices than Rally Chase. All right, next game on the list. This one is a it's a wrestling game. Sorry, I don't know what it's doing. Come back to my face. Come to my face, please. Maybe not. Maybe not. Do the thing. Focus on me. There we go. There we go. Let me read the chat before we go to the next one. Cross dongs. Cross dongs. What? I was laughing because Famicom Collecting said Dong Frenzy. I just happened to read that in my peripheral vision while talking about the game. So I was trying to keep a straight face, but I couldn't. I love those games. I wish the Neo Geo had more platformers and super scalar racers. Or any. El sushi fue creado el siglo IV antes de Cristo. Sí, el sushi ya tiene tiempo, pero no sé si era algo que era común en Europa en ese tiempo. I like how Rally Chase, the cover clearly took inspiration of real-life NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt. Oh my god, you're right! Probably all of them, right? They probably all take after some NASCAR guy. But anyhow, all right. Next up, King of the Monsters 2 for the Neo Geo CD. This one is like a kaiju wrestling game. It's basically a one-on-one fighting game / wrestling game on the Neo Geo CD. The first King of the Monsters did not come out on the Neo Geo CD. Only King of the Monsters 2 for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that was the case with King of the Monsters. Really cool game though. This is the better game of the two anyhow. So if you do have a Neo Geo CD, you want some big monster kaiju wrestling, definitely pick up King of the Monsters 2. It's a lot of fun. Super big sprites, really nice heavy sounds, nice punchy sound bites in this one. Definitely pick it up. Cool roster of characters. It's just wild. It's like a Godzilla game, right? You're like Godzilla type monsters running around destroying buildings. It's a lot of fun. Very enjoyable. Definitely recommend pick it up if you have the money to grab it for the Neo Geo CD. It's a lot of fun. DK, what's up? He says, I mustache you a question. I mustache you. Who? Me? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? I've always watched them play that game on TV. It looked awesome. Yeah, the game is cool. It's a cool game. King of the Dong Monsters. King of the Dong Monsters. How you doing? DK, the cover rally, that mustache. I know, yeah, that guy's super mustache on that one. Super porn stash. They play King of the Monsters on some UK TV show. That's cool. Man, Super Scalar Racers of the Neo Geo CD would have been awesome if SNK did something like combine Sega Rally with Outrun. That would have been sick. Says Mackenzie. Hige-san says, King of the Monsters was often installed near Dagashia and was popular with children. Wow, that's awesome. For those of you who don't know, Dagashia are Japanese cheap treats, right? They had these like, traditionally, Japan had like these wooden, they were like stores, and inside all the shelves were made out of wood, and they'd have like hay and stuff to like line the shelves of like candy. And basically you could go in as a kid and grab like cheap candies from boxes or jars, and they'd have stuff for like, 5 yen candies, 10 yen candies, probably cheaper back in their inception. But back in that time, now you go to like Super Potato has like a Dagashia corner where they have it set up that looks like a Dagashia, and you can get some stuff that's like 10 yen, usually like 10 yen and up probably, and it's like umaibo or like cheap little snack things, and then it goes up from there. Don Quixote also does like a Dagashiya type of thing. Like when you go in, they have like wooden shelves and stuff, and they set it up like a Dagashiya. And in that corner specifically, like in Osaka has a Don Quixote that has like a Dagashiya section, and in that section they play like anime music just in the Dagashiya section. The rest of the store is playing some other stuff, but the Don Quixote, I forget what street that Don Quixote is. Oh shit, sorry. Sudden sneeze attack. But yeah, Dagashiyas were a big thing. They're slowly going away now. Dagashi bar. What? How do you even say that? Dagashi Tsuten Kakumae. Oh, that's cool.
It's a restaurant.
Oh, that's cool.
You pick
your things.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool. So in Osaka, they have a Dagashiya restaurant, like a cafe. You can go in and you can play retro games, and you have a basket and you can fill it with your Dagashiya, and then have like smoothies or beer to go with your Dagashiya. Oh my god, we need to do that. Put that on the list.
Yeah.
Put that on the list. We have to go to the.
Just saying, bless you.
Thank you. Hashtag blessed. Don Quixote de la Mancha y Sancho Panza. Salud. Gracias. Yes, Umaibo shop. Says Hige-san. Don Quixote es este bicho. Él se llama Don Pen. Es el pingüino de Don Quijote. De las tiendas japonesas. Alright, moving on. Sorry, I had like a crazy sneeze attack, and now my nose is all stuffed. You ever get that? You sneeze and it like immediately stuffs up your nose? I think this is the last track on this, so when this is over, maybe we'll change it. Okay. Bless you, bless me, bless the world. Hashtag blessed. They'd play. That's cool though about King of the Monsters. That they had them next to Dagashiya. That's awesome. Sorry, we're writing down things that we want to do. Do we have a new list?
Yeah, this is a new list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we need a new things to do in Japan list. We're trying to go to. We need to buy our. We only have a few more days to buy our Shinkansen passes. So we're trying to raise money for that. I might start an Etsy shop to sell the remaining, because I have some stock of charms that are just sitting there. So I might put them up on Etsy, because they're not really selling on sarumaru.com. So I'll probably just put them up on Etsy for $10 a piece or something. The King of the Monsters discussion made me look up whether the 100 yen shortage due to Space Invaders is real or a myth. Was it? Was it real? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I can't figure it out. Maybe Hige-san knows about that 100 yen shortage. Alright, moving on. Sorry about that, you guys. My brain just kind of stopped after I felt like I sneezed my brain out of my skull. Alright. Purchase a demo disc for FX no Yuki here. That's true. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. You could do that. Stock is limited. Yeah, there's like 20 of those left. Or 30.
18.
18? I don't know. There's some left. I watched a video recently saying that it was debunked, but you can't trust anything you see on the internet. Don't even know if this is the real Saru. It might be. It might not be. It might be my clone. Alright. Next up. Sorry, my eyelashes all of a sudden started falling out of my eye socket. I sneezed out all my eyelashes. Alright. Next up is Sengoku Densho 2. Is that 96?
Yeah.
All right. It's AI Saru. Yes, I'm not really here. I am bits and pixels created by artificial intelligence. Real Saru has more red hair. AI Saru can't render it properly. I know. I just have like the tip right now. I was trying to let it all grow out and then redo it again. You know, let all the healthy hair grow in. But it doesn't matter because I feel like I'm burning my skull. My skull looks weird at any given moment. Like if you turn me sideways like this, when I have gel in, I look bald as fuck. Look, it looks like I had a shaving accident. And then if you look like straight ahead, it looks like I'm.
Yeah, because in person, it does not look like that.
Yeah, it's only when the light hits it. When I have gel in, there. If I take it out, it doesn't look so bad. It doesn't look like I got in a fight with a thing. How do I know which one to shoot? Says DK, real Saru. What if the clone Saru thinks he's real Saru and the real Saru thinks he's clone? I don't know. If I had a clone, I don't know what I would do with that clone all day. Let's not talk about that. Next up, Sengoku Densho 2. Oh shit. Russ is here. What's up? Welcome. Russ, thank you for the $10. Russ, how are you? He says, yo! What's up, Russ? Thank you so much for those $10 roonies. I appreciate it. I have an idea what you might do. Selfest? Close enough. What would you even call that at that point? Let's see here. Just the red tip. It is indeed red. We're talking about my hair. Every time we get into we start talking about weird stuff, people always drop off. They're like, oh no, he's talking about weird shit. Sengoku Dong 2. It doesn't work. With Sengoku, does it? Everything is Dong. Alright. Thank you so much, Russ. I appreciate it. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. Welcome. Alright, next up. Oh, this case is all busty for Sengoku. I was like, why isn't it closing right? It's because this case is broken. Alright, next up. This is Sengoku Densho 2. We talked about the first Sengoku earlier. This one is more of the same, but adds a whole lot of depth in terms of the stages. I say more of the same because you're two guys. You transform into other things, and they have different power-ups. You have a limited amount of time with your power-ups, and it's so much fun. It's a fun game. I love it. Love this game. This time you get to be two different people. You get to be I think the guy from part 1 and some new guy, unless they're both new guys. I don't remember. Game is fun though. Game is cool. If you like the first one, you'll love the second one. It has all the feels of the first one, in my opinion. I enjoy 1 and 2 the most. Love Sengoku 1 and 2. Of course, we talked earlier that there was a Sengoku 3. But to me, Sengoku 3 doesn't really even feel like it belongs in the Sengoku franchise. To me, it feels completely different. And it feels like they just took some other game and were like, let's just slap the Sengoku name on it. Whatever, who cares? It's all good. But yeah, if you have the money to pick this one up, and if you have the money to only pick up one of them, pick up Sengoku 2. But if you can grab both, definitely grab both. But if you had to pick one, Sengoku Densho 2, for sure. Alright, let me read comments really quick. Luckily, this is not a PC Engine show of all my games, or we will be here until Monday, says Matthew Roach. For reals, if we were talking about my PC Engine games, we would be here all night long. Russ says, yo, been listening since the stream started while I'm working on stuffs. I love that you're having an occasional old school VGST discussion like in the old times. So awesome listening about the Neo, says Russ. Yeah, I thought it'd be cool, right? To bring it back at least once a month. So that way we have 2 Saru shows and 1 VGST a month. So really there's only going to be one Saturday where we don't do something. Because we're going to do one of these a month. And it'll be fun. Mackenzie says, if I had a clone, I think I could think of a couple things that I could do with the ladies, like make the clone prepare dinner or do the laundry. What were you thinking? This is a PG-rated show. That's correct. This is a family show. My clone would do my taxes. And technically people think Jesse is my clone. He already does my taxes. So technically my clone is doing my taxes. People always think we're twins. It's so weird when we go outside. They're like, it is twins. I'm like, we don't look like each other. Like, I personally don't think we look like each other at all. But people just, I guess they see the glasses and the beard. It's like, you guys are brothers. I'm like, guys are brothers who kiss. Sengoku, great game, says Shangri-La. All right, moving on. Next on the Neo Geo CD list is Super Baseball Stars 2. Like I said, more of the same. If you like the original Baseball Stars, I guess you'll like this one. Has better graphics. More of the same. I don't know. I don't really play sports games, so here it is. Super Baseball Stars 2. If you like baseball, sure, give it a whack. Give it a try. Cool cover art though. Really like the cover art. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Baseball Stars 2 for the Neo Geo CD. Alright, next one is another wrestling game. This one is actually a proper wrestling game, unlike King of the Monsters where it's like monster wrestling. This one is more reminiscent of something you would see in like an old WWF game. Or I believe this is probably SNK's answer to Saturday Night Slam Masters, I'm going to say. This is Fire Suplex, known in America as 3 Count Bout. This one is a cool game. It's kind of hard. It's not as easy to jump into as, say, like the WWF games. Or it's about on par with Saturday Night Slam Master. I think Saturday Night Slam Masters, or Muscle Bomber as it's known in Japan, is a bit easier to play than this. But the big sprites in this game are very attractive. The game looks cool. Every character has like a cool, flashy, like luchador intro, you know, like you would see in like WWF, where, you know, a character would come in, and it was cool. It's a cool game. The cast of characters is goofy. Sweet cover art. Overall, the artwork is pretty good in this game. Sprite work is amazing. If you're into wrestling games, this is a must get because it's the only actual wrestling game on the Neo Geo CD, other than King of the Monsters, which is monster wrestling. Definitely one to pick up if you have a Neo Geo CD. Let's see here. Tsunami says, "Oh no, step bro." Big brother, what are you doing? Yamete kudasai. Oh man, if I was showing my GameCube collection, I would probably have to take work off for a week. I would talk so much about nostalgia stories with certain games, says Mackenzie. Maybe they think you are from Alabama. Next show, favorite sports game moment? No. Still haven't found a wrestling game where I can rip my opponent's shorts off. Let me know if you find one. Let me know if you find one. Alright, moving on. Next game in the Neo Geo CD list is a classic. This is Ryuko no Ken, or Art of Fighting as it's known here in the US. The first Art of Fighting game. This one here was a graphical beast. The sounds were amazing. It did scaling. This was the first time we saw scaling in a fighting game, which was super cool to see. You know, the characters would spread out, the screen would stretch out, and then you'd get closer and the screen would zoom in, and it was just such a cool effect. Everything about this game, the gigantic sprites, the music, this game had a lot of good music. The power-up system, you know, you had like an actual bar for your special moves. It had these really like cool bonus stages that were at the time so unique, right? Because like you had to perform special moves. It trained you, right? The game trained you on how to do special attacks, like to do the super fireball. You had a bonus stage where you had to do like 10 of them, I think, to blow up some dummy, you know, training dummy. And it was cool. The characters were cool. This game really feels like an 80s movie come to life. So if you like those kind of like 80s action movies, you know, gangsters, mobster kind of thing, good versus evil, blah, blah, blah. It really feels like that was what they were going for with this game. They were going for like an 80s vibe. You even have Robert Garcia looking like Steven Seagal sort of. It was a cool concept. The game was just great. It was a great game at the time. When I first saw this in the arcade, I was like, whoa, this game is so good. But it was so hard because when you try to compare like playing it like Street Fighter, you can't, because you had to really think about when you're gonna take the time to charge your super meter, when to use your super meter to perform like super moves. You had to think about what you were going to do next in this game. But this game is amazing. Super good graphics. It was the beginning of what would be a staple series for SNK in their fighting game franchises. It would be a game that has its it has appearances in other things like the King of Fighters. There was even a Fatal Fury reference, which we'll talk about when we get to that Fatal Fury game. But definitely recommend picking up Art of Fighting. However, the first Art of Fighting for the Neo Geo CD has gone up in price. It's kind of expensive. So if you try to pick this up, expect to pay a pretty penny for this one, as it's gone up significantly in price. All right. Moving on, we are almost done with this stack of games, and then we'll take a short 2-3 minute break so I can queue up the next round of games. Next game, this is an absolute classic for the Neo Geo in general. That is the first Samurai Spirits, known as Samurai Showdown in the US. Honestly, I loved the name Samurai Showdown. It was just such a cool name, right? Like at that time, it's like Samurai Showdown. It was just, everyone knew it. The first Samurai Showdown innovated with its weapon system for fighting games. You know, every character had their own weapon. The weapon could be knocked out of their hands. You had all these different samurais. The game had such a heavy emphasis on Japanese aesthetics, like the music and the visuals. You had, you had different samurais. You had the lone swordsman. You had the ninjas. You had the goblins. You had the like, it was just cool. You had all these different characters. You had like the Chinese swordsman. You had, what's her name, Charlotte. She was like a knight with a rapier. It was just cool. It was a cool concept. The weapons thing was just ahead of its time. It was a game that definitely made a huge impact back when it was released. Absolutely love Samurai Spirits. This is a game that you can also find fairly inexpensive. So if you can get Samurai Spirits for the Neo Geo CD, definitely pick it up. Such a great game. I have so many good memories of this game. Absolutely love it. I felt like it was a very unique take on fighting games at the time, and I think that's one of the things that SNK was good at, is taking a formula that already exists and seeing how they could make it better. And I think that was one of SNK's strengths at the time, especially with games like they tried to do with Fatal Fury, right, where you had like scenarios. They did it with Art of Fighting. Art of Fighting was pretty unique. They took a formula and made it unique. Samurai Spirits, Samurai Showdown, same thing. They took a formula that was already tried and true, and they did something totally cool with it by adding a weapon system. And I love it. Obviously, I'm very passionate about the first couple Samurai Showdowns. They made quite an impact on me, back as a teenager playing these games in the arcade. It was quite an impact. People lined up. They did the whole, you put the quarter on the machine to play this game. It was hot. This game was hot. Hot. All right. Last game in this first stack. We're going to do 2 more stacks of games. But last game in this stack here is Top Hunter. Roddy and Kathy. Top Hunter. Love this cover art. But also the graphics in this game are beautiful. If you enjoy action platforming arcade style gameplay, this is definitely one to pick up. It's not super out of reach to get yourself a copy if you have a Neo Geo CD. The game itself is kind of short, but it is so much fun. So much fun to play. It's not overtly hard either. But it's a super fun game. I really like it. Also beautiful logo work once again by SNK. definitely check out Top Hunter. The music is great. The action is great. The graphics are great. It's just great. Just get it. If you have a Neo Geo CD or you're looking for an action game that's fun to play and not super difficult to pick up Top Hunter. Roddy and Kathy highly recommends. All right, that does it for our first stack of games. We'll grab some more. We'll talk about them. We'll just take a couple minutes to stack them up. Let me read the comments really quick before we come back. Let's see here. Saru shows off his GameCube. Sounds like Akiba beat. Want to see GameCube. Ooh, I do enjoy Akiba's trip on Switch. At the start, I was thinking how much I wish Saru would show each game quickly. I really wasn't thinking about how long this would take. I'm going pretty quick with them too, though. I'm trying to go as quick as I can. I should go to SNK and propose them standalone My Shiranui best. Oh, beat 'em up. I need more Shiranui jiggle physics. Let's see here. Now we play each game in alphabetical order for 24 hours straight. I can't remember what I did yesterday. What are you guys talking about? Samurai Spirits is awesome. Imported Samurai Showdown Neo Geo collection for my Switch from Japan because it was cheaper than the North American version by limited run. That's awesome. Such stacks. Wrong profile. What's up, Cassius? Yes, Sweets, I agree. Needs to play each game for 24 hours. If you guys are willing to stay with me those 24 hours, sure. But I need blood packs now. Everyone slice your thumbs open. We're doing blood packs.
And Little Caesars.
And Little Caesars. Little Caesars 24-hour Neo Geo stream. I think it's like Pokemon Red Blue thing. Top Hunter, is this game about using grind?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, here we go, you guys. We're gonna queue up the next stack. We're just gonna take a little break here while we do so. Please stick around.
Go get snacks, go use the restroom.
We have more Neo Geo CD games on the way, so stay tuned. All right. And we are back. Sorry. All right. We took a little break. I have a new stack of games to talk about. A new stack of games. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around during our short intermission while we grabbed some games. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing? How are you guys doing right now? Everyone stick around? Who left? Who's on the potty? All right, moving on. Thank you for waiting, everybody. Next up on the Neo Geo CD game list is Ryukonoken 2 or Art of Fighting 2. We just talked about the first Art of Fighting, which was amazing when it came out. Super impressive. This, I want to say it was more of the same. It was pretty good. Pretty good impact when it hit. People played this a lot. Super big character sprites. This time around, you got to pick new characters. We have Eiji Kisaragi and Yuri Sakasaki, who is the person who gets captured in the first game. In the first Art of Fighting, you have to rescue Yuri Sakasaki, and then it has a twist ending. You could also use Ryo's father, who is the main karate guy, in this one as well. Oh, Matthew, 40 months. Holy shit. Holy shit. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. 40 months of Matthews. That's a long time. That's like
almost 4 years. If you do 8 months, like three years and.
It's like three years and 8 months. Is that the math? Sorry. Did I freak you out? Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it.
3 years and 4 months, I think.
Yeah, it's like 3 years and three and a half years. Whatever. Math is. How do I math? I don't know how to math. I can't math. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. All right, where was I? So yes, next one up in the list is Art of Fighting 2. Art of Fighting 2 is a lot like Art of Fighting 1, but better. Obviously, there's more characters to choose from. The gameplay in this is much more refined than the first game. You get to pick Yuri Sakasaki, Eiji Kisaragi, and a bunch of other new characters in this one that are cool. I specifically love Yuri in this one. Another cool thing about this one is that you can pick any of the characters right off the bat, as to where the first one was more episodic and you were only able to use Robert and Ryo, the two main characters, in the story mode. But in this one, you can pick anybody and everyone gets their own story mode. Excellent game. This is also one that you can find super cheap if you can get it. For the Neo Geo CD, it's often around the $20 mark. It's not a game that's pricey. If you get it from Japan, you can probably get it for even cheaper, or maybe around the same price. I don't know what it goes for, but I do know it goes for fairly cheap. So if you have a Neo Geo CD, you want to pick up a fighting game that's affordable and fun, Art of Fighting 2 is definitely one to pick up. Not a hard game to pick up in terms of price, and a very easy game to pick up and play as well. It's a fighting game that, even though the first one I feel like is difficult to play because of the fighting game. What am I trying to say here? The first Art of Fighting game has, the power-up system. This one has it as well. It's just easier to execute moves on this one than it was on the first game. That's how it is with a lot of these fighting games. They make the moves easier to execute in them. 100% Art of Farting. Oh no. What is that gonna be, Mark? What is that gonna be? What is this going to be? Oh, okay. You made a clip. Did I say Art of Farting?
Hold on. I gotta pause it.
Ryukonoken 2 or Art of Fighting 2. It does sound like it's Art of Farting. Ryukonoken 2 or Art of Fighting 2. We just talked about... It's the Art of Farting. You have to go to a specialized school for that. You have to go through very special training to learn the art of farting. The art of fart. You have to go to a special monastery to learn the art of fart. Like a Terrence and Phillips game. The fart fad. Alright. Moving on. Yeah, some of these are like way out of order. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Hold on, you guys. I'm gonna have to try to organize these in some cohesive way that makes sense. 92, 93, yeah. Bear with me just a moment, you guys. I'm sorry. Ah, I had these in such a good order too. I don't know what happened. Such order is not order, but pure disarray. What the fuck? Why is? Excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
The panda is dead. That's weird. I'm like missing some of these. That is super weird. Yeah, all these games are backwards. Huh. I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not sure, but it did. Okay. All right, here we go. Does it have Wii Sports? Violence to pandas. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Next one in the Neo Geo CD game list, that is the King of Fighters 94 for the Neo Geo CD. This is a fighting game that I believe revolutionized the fighting game landscape with its team gameplay. Super cool what they did with this. Super cool. And when this first came out, I was super impressed with it. I was 100% enthralled with the King of Fighters. Amazing stuff. Team gameplay. It was the first time you got to see like these characters cross over. And it was super cool. Super cool to see, like, you know, people from Fatal Fury against people from Art of Fighting. It was just the first time. And then a bunch of original characters. You had mixed teams like Mai Shiranui with Yuri from Art of Fighting and King from Art of Fighting. It was very cool. It was the England stage. Those girls there. They were Mai, Yuri, and King. Super cool stuff. One of my favorite games. I remember I even entered a King of Fighters tournament. And it was cool. Very cool stuff. But yeah, that is the King of Fighters 94. This one had one really good arranged soundtrack. You had a vocal track for Athena's Psycho Soldier theme. Very good stuff. Also, this is a game that's also super cheap. If you have, you know, a few bucks to spare, you can definitely pick up King of Fighters 94 for the Neo Geo CD. This was one of my first games for the Neo Geo CD, and it's awesome. All right. I think we're going to have to come back and do another one of these shows, you guys. We're going to end it here. And I'm not sure when we can continue this. We'll have to do a part 2. So we'll make this part 1 of Neo Geo CD games, because we've already done this for 2 hours. So I think maybe we'll do 2 hours each stack. I think we got through one stack pretty good. So maybe we'll do 2 more. 2 more of these at some point. But we'll talk about them.
Part 2
Yeah, we'll do like a part 2. I don't know when. Probably not on a Saturday. We'll do. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do next Saturday. We'll just continue it.
Yeah.
Till we do VGST again. We'll do another one next Saturday, if that's cool with you guys. And then maybe I'll have like another chibi. But yeah, because it's gonna take forever to get through all of these, and we've already done like 30 of them only. So we still have like 97 of them. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here, and then we'll come back. We'll do another VGST. We'll do part 2 of this, and we'll talk about them. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it here. We'll be back Monday on Twitch. Monday is Sega Mega Monday on Twitch. I don't know what I haven't decided what I'm gonna play on Monday, but it might just be Sega Mega Monday. You guys like it when we play random games on Twitch. But anyhow, you guys, we're going to go ahead and here. I really appreciate everyone stopping in here. Thank you, everyone, for donating towards this Nakoruru charm that will make, at the very least, we can make it into a small charm.
Yeah.
For folks. More thick peach, please. Probably not, because we're going to be doing Sega on Monday. So we'll be doing Sega-related stuff. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate everyone stopping in here tonight, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.